Okay, so this is going to be chapter number 3 of geography, agriculture. And this chapter will be telling you what is the importance of agriculture, concept of agriculture, different types of agriculture, agricultural development. We'll talk about all these things in this chapter. So, first of all, we will begin with economic activities. What are the economic activities? Anything which is done to earn money, which is done by people, and to transform something like a plant to a finished product, that will be known as economic activity. So that can be classified into three broad categories. One is primary sector, then second is secondary sector, and then third is tertiary sector. So if we talk about primary sector activities, these activities include all those connected with the extraction and production of the natural resources. So first it can be, the examples of these will be agriculture, fishing, gathering, all this. Okay, next we have secondary activity. So you know that these activities were done in the previous time by like early humans, and then they learned the production of crops, then they started doing agriculture. So it is being done from the ancient time, that's why we can call it primary activity. That can also be a reason. Also, it provides support to secondary and tertiary activity or tertiary sector, that's why it is known as primary activity. Secondary activity is like related to the processing of these resources which we are getting from the primary sector. Like if we are getting from their iron ore, okay, the raw kind of iron which is like not clean iron, so that. And then second thing, we are getting certain crops, like we are getting cotton, we are getting rice, we are getting sugarcane. So we will transform it into something else, like sugarcane to sugar, and a cotton to fabric. Like this, we will convert them in something more valuable. So that sector will be known as manufacturing sector or secondary sector or secondary activity. So manufacturing of steel, baking of bread, weaving of clothes are example of this secondary activity. And then we have tertiary activity, in which we will have the services. So basically these services will be provided to support primary and secondary sector. And what will be the services? Transport, trading, banking, insurance, advertising. These will be the tertiary sector activities which will support for primary and secondary activities. So I had given one example, like whenever I taught in the class. So I used to give this example that if we grow a potato in agricultural field, that will be the primary activity. If we make chips out of them, it will become the secondary activity. And when it will be sold in the market by being transported in the market, then it will be known as tertiary activity. So like this, you can like make your own examples, you set your own examples. Okay, now let's come to agriculture. So agriculture, there are certain points which you should remember, that agriculture is a primary activity. It is one of the most important activity in the world. Why? Because if it will not be done, you will not be able to survive, because it gives you food. Without food you will not be able to survive, directly or indirectly, anyway. Even if you are a non-vegetarian, still you need this like crop, whatever we are growing in the field. Okay, it includes growing of crops, fruits, vegetables, flowers, and rearing of livestock. 2/3 of Indian population is still dependent on the agriculture. Why? Because agriculture is a very important and primary activity, and it is done from the beginning. That's why people are still dependent on this activity. Factors related to agriculture. What are the factors which are related? First of all, it is favorable topography, like what kind of land it is. If it is fertile flat land, you have fertile soil, then you will be able to grow crops. And if we talk about climate, so when there is more rainfall, there will be good suitable, because there are different crops. So if there are different crops, their suitability, their condition, favorable condition will be different. So if I talk about rice will be grown in the area where there is a lot of rainfall, there is a lot of temperature. And if we talk about that wheat requires like warm climate and more sunlight, like that situation. So we need to take care of this climate. It is very important in this agricultural activity. It affects a lot. Okay, next we have arable land. What is the meaning of arable land? So arable land is the land on which the crops are grown uh, in easily, like it will be grown there. Okay, so yes, so it will be known as arable land. So you can see this map, wherever you see the green patches, those areas are arable. And if you see India properly, you see that India has a lot of arable land, Europe has a lot of arable land, your Great Lakes area is having a lot of arable land in USA. And if you see this China also has a lot of arable land. So this map is important. Okay, you should understand this map properly. Now we have this different types of cultivation. So as you know that cultivation is the word which we get from culture, है ना? In agriculture, agar means soil and culture means cultivation. So that cultivation is related to different things. Like if you say, it is the suffix for other words like agri. So here 5 words with suffix culture is used, like agriculture, which is done on soil, cultivation on the soil, growing crops and rearing livestock. Then you have horticulture, which is like growing vegetables, flowers, fruits for commercial purpose. Then sericulture is where you rear the silkworm to extract silk. Then you see viticulture is cultivation of grapes. Then pisciculture, where you breed and rear for fish. So these things happen in different types of culture. This culture is different from other culture. Okay, now next we have farming system. Okay, when we see agriculture as a system, how does it work? Okay, so first it is input, then process, then output. Very simple. When you learn computer also, you know that first you give inputs, then it processes, and then you get the output. The same way in agriculture also. So first input can be of two types. One is physical and other is chemical. We'll go to that. No, physical and then human made. So we'll be seeing both of them in the next slide. But here you have to understand that if we talk about input, it means we'll be giving something to start something. Okay, so there machinery is required, seeds are required, chemicals are required to do agriculture, and then labor is required, people are required, land is required, these all things, sunlight required, water required, these are all inputs. Okay, then we talk about processes. So processes: plowing, sowing, tilling the land, spraying, irrigation, all will be known as the processes. And what do we get as an output? So output will be crop. So this is the way how we understand the agriculture as that system. Okay, as a system. So it is farming system. So in exam question can come like this, very easy, like draw or explain the farm system with an example. So you can explain it like this. Now next we will be seeing okay, I was telling that input can be two types. So inputs, physical input will be all natural things, whatever you get naturally and you utilize it for doing agriculture, that would be known as physical input. Okay, it can contain sunlight, water, soil, these things. And if we talk about human input, so human input may there will be labor. Okay, there will be chemical fertilizers, these things will come under this machinery, these things will come under human inputs. So you should know the difference between that. Okay, next we have types of farming. So this is a very important topic, because you should understand what is the different type of farming. If you see this flow chart, first farming is broadly categorized into subsistence farming and then commercial farming. Okay, so subsistence farming, which is done for survival, you should remember with sub and serve. So survival, it is done for survival, subsistence farming. And if we talk about commercial, commercial, you see commercial ads, so that is for trading purpose, right? So it is just for earning money, to do trade, to sell, purchase things. So these are for commercial purpose. Okay, so when subsistence farming is further divided, it will have two different types. One is intensive farming and other is primitive subsistence farming. So one by one we'll be seeing everything in the next slides, but right now just get the classification. Then we have intensive subsistence farming, which is done in the small limited area, and we do a lot of production in that. Primitive subsistence, which is done from the beginning, from the early humans time. So it is containing two types of again two types, there are two types. First is shifting cultivation, and the second is nomadic herding. And shifting cultivation you learn in 7th class also in history. We'll come to that, don't worry. Okay, next we have commercial farming. Commercial farming can be grain farming, can be mixed farming, can be plantation. Here it should be plantation, it is written mixed farming again. So it is plantation. Okay, so we'll go through everything in detail. Okay, so first of all, types of farming का basis क्या होता है? What is the basis of types of farming? So geographical condition, demand of produce, labor, level of technology, ये सारी जो basis है ना, these will be like taken care when we divide two broad categories like subsistence farming and commercial farming. So subsistence farming is the type of farming which is practiced to meet the needs of the farmer's family. It is saying farmer's family, but we can say the small population. Okay, the nearby people, like in surrounding whoever is living. Okay, then we have traditionally, if we talk about it, there will be low level of technology used. Household labor, like the family people will be working in the field, so the output will also be small in compared to the commercial farming. Subsistence farming can be further classified into intensive and primitive subsistence. So let's see them, but first we will compare subsistence farming and commercial farming. So in commercial farming, crops are grown and animals are reared for sale in the market. Okay, as we all know that agriculture is an activity in which you grow crops and side by side you rear livestock also. So these things will be done for selling in market. Then we have most area cultivated and the amount of capital is used is very large. Like you will invest a lot because you know that you have to earn profit, so you will invest as much as is required. Most of the work is done by machines because here you have that capability. In subsistence you don't have that much of money and the capital, so that's why you use very less amount of resources, whatever is naturally available. Commercial farming includes commercial grain farming, mixed farming and plantation. Next we have one by one, like we will be talking about intensive subsistence, then primitive subsistence agriculture. So first, intensive subsistence farming. In intensive subsistence farming, farmer cultivates a small plot of land using simple tools and more labor. Like the people will be from the family only, and there will be a small plot of land because they are farmers. So most of the 80% of the farmer in India is having small plot of land, or they don't have land. So in that case they'll have the small plot of land, and on that they will use simple tools and more labor. Okay, they will not have machines, so they will take work from labor. Intensive subsistence agriculture is prevalent in the thickly populated areas of the monsoon region of Southeast Asia and East Asia. So if you see these regions on map, you will find that India, China, Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, these will be the part of these regions. Okay, just always see the map and try to find out what is talked about, what place is talked about. Okay, so monsoon regions, why it is called? Because monsoon winds effect can be seen here, and due to monsoon wind they get rainfall, a lot of rainfall, and that is sufficient for irrigation in those areas. Then what is the main crop? Rice is the main crop. You see in Japan also, in China also, a lot of rice dishes you see, and in India as well you see a lot of rice eating people are there, from north to south, everywhere. So yes, rice is the main crop grown here. Other crops include wheat, maize, pulses, oil, seed. Okay, then we have primitive subsistence agriculture, in which there are two types of agriculture. One is shifting cultivation and other is nomadic herding. So there are some pictures given, like intensive subsistence farming and primitive subsistence farming. So primitive means something we are doing from the beginning, okay, and intensive where there's a small plot of land and you try to cultivate more out of it. Okay, now shifting cultivation. So shifting cultivation is done on a plot of land which is cleared by cutting the trees and burning them, and the ashes are mixed with the soil and make it fertile. Okay, and then crops like maize, yam, potato, cassava, these are grown. After the soil loses its fertility, once the crops are harvested, then the land is abandoned and the cultivators move to a new plot. They leave it for gaining the natural fertility. This shifting cultivation is also known as slash and burn agriculture. Now it is practiced where there's a lot of forest. Jahan pe you find a lot of forest, you will see people do such kind of agriculture, because only there they will be able to cut forest, cut trees. Okay, so now it is not that prevalent, because we have less forest and we have understood the importance of forest. So earlier it used to happen, and still in few areas where there is a lot of dense forest, Amazon basin, tropical Africa, parts of Southeast Asia, Northeast India, there you will find it. And you know that these are known, like this shifting cultivation is known by different names. If you go to Northeast India, there it is known as jhuming cultivation. If you go to Malaysia, it is known there as ladang. If you go to Brazil, it is known as roca. And if you go to Mexico, there it is known as milpa. So these are the different names, so you should know about it. Then we have nomadic herding. In nomadic herding, herdsmen move from one place to another with their animal for fodder and water. So for their food need, they move from one food and water need, they move from one place to another. Okay, and wherever they find the grassland, grazing land, they'll reach to that place. Sheep, camel, yak, goats are commonly reared. They will only rear those animals from which they will get something, some products they will get. And also they will rear very tamed animals, like very not the wild one. Okay, lion, tiger, these were not be reared by these nomads. Okay, they provide milk, meat, wool, hides and other products. That's why they will be rearing them. It is practiced in the semi arid and arid regions of Sahara, Central Asia, some parts of India like Rajasthan and Jammu Kashmir. So because there is no fertile land, they are not able to do agriculture, there's no forest, they are not able to do shifting cultivation, due to which they are rearing animals, because people used to adapt everywhere. So they have adapted what is suitable in that climatic condition, arid and semi-arid, which is basically desert type of climate. Okay, so according to that they have started doing nomadic herding. Now there you can see the examples. One side you can see the whole process is given of shifting cultivation, and then other side you see that nomadic herding, the camels are reared and they are like taken to the other place, they are moving from one place to another. Then we have next classification of commercial farming. So first of all, it is written commercial grain farming. Grain farming means where you will grow a single grain crop. Okay, like it can be rice, wheat, maize, these can be single grain crop, and it will be grown for completely for commercial purpose. Means it will not meet the need of a farmer or a family, but it will be given, the produce will be given to export or import or trade, like those things. Okay, so it will be done here. Okay, now only a single crop can be grown in this field. Wheat, maize are common commercially grown grains. Then we have major areas where commercial grain farming is practiced are temperate grassland, North America. Then you have Europe and Asia. Next we have mixed farming. In mixed farming, the word itself explains there will be two things mixed, or something else will be mixed with farming. Okay, in mixed farming, the land is used for growing food and fodder crops and rearing livestock. Both the things will be done together, like they are rearing livestock, they are growing crop as well, and from that crop only the fodder for the livestock is also uh, got. So that is how we do mix farming. One side we are doing rice cultivation on the same in the same field, because there's a lot of water required for irrigation of rice. So they will be breeding fish also there. So this happens. Okay, next, it is practiced in Europe, Eastern USA, Argentina, Southeast Australia, then New Zealand and South Africa. Then we have next thing, which is plantation farming. Very very important, because it's connected with history also. Like if you talk about indigo plantation, and you have learned about it in, I think, third chapter of your history. So yeah, there it is also. Okay, now plantation are a type of commercial farming. Commercial farming, again, where you are doing something for business purpose, for selling and earning profit. So there you will grow a single crop like tea, coffee, sugarcane, cashew, rubber. These all are your plantation crop. So you will grow banana, cotton, these things, and large amount of labor and capital are required. And the very important thing is that there will be a large field. In that field you will do processing of that. First you will grow that crop, and then later processing, finishing and packaging, everything will be done on the same field. That's why it is like commercial thing, and we utilize try to utilize all the resources available, plus we try to save, cut the cost in whatever capital we are investing. We will try to cut the cost so that benefit can increase. So they will try to do everything on the same field. Okay, so major plantations are found in the tropical regions of the world. Tropical region, which comes under between the tropics, like your um, near the tropic B you can include. So the tropics are Tropic of Capricorn and Tropic of Cancer. So beyond that a little bit part, and then inside. So India is a very good place to do all type of farming. That's why you see the arable land, the green patches in arable land. There is a lot of green patches. Okay. Okay, so rubber. Okay, major plantations are found in the tropical regions of the world. Rubber in Malaysia, coffee in Brazil, tea in India. In India, it is in Assam, and then Sri Lanka are best example for these. Okay, now we have understood all three types of commercial farming. Commercial farming, so commercial grain farming, mixed farming, and then you have plantation farming. You can see in this picture the example how we do it. Okay, next we have major crops. Like this is also very very important part, because you should know what are the different major crops grown throughout the world. Okay, so first it is rice. Rice is a major food crop. Rice and wheat both are a staple food, which is necessarily the part of every meal, because it provides a lot of carbs. So yeah, rice and wheat is the staple meal for many of the countries. So rice is the major food crop of the world. It is the staple diet of the tropical and subtropical region people. Then it grows best in alluvial clay soil, and then which can retain water. So where there will be a lot of water retention, it is suitable for rice. So you should know about this. Then we have, and what type of soil? Alluvial clay soil is required. China is leading in rice production, then India, then Japan, then Sri Lanka and Egypt. And if we talk about in India, then in India you have West Bengal, you have Uttar Pradesh, you have Andhra Pradesh. These areas are growing a lot of rice. Okay, now wheat requires moderate temperature, and rainfall also moderate during growing season, and bright sunshine at the time of harvest. So you know that if you have learned science properly, these things have already come there, right? Rice is a kharif crop, and wheat is a rabi crop. So it is grown in winter time where there's a lot of sunshine, right? So that time it is being harvested. It thrives best in well drained loamy soil. So it will require loamy soil which has more permeability, okay, which absorbs water inside, which can drain out water quickly. What is grown, like wheat is grown extensively in USA, Canada, Argentina, Russia, Ukraine, Australia, and in India. So you can see every crop is grown in India. And India, if you talk about states in India, major states in India, so it is Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana. These are the places where you see wheat is growing majorly. Okay, and in India it is grown in winter time. And if we talk about rice, it is grown in summer time. Millets which are very very important this time, because this year 2023 is international year of the for millets. Okay, so yes, and because this is so, these crops which comes under millet, jowar, ragi, bajra, these are very nutritious, so that's why it is being promoted this year. So millets are also known as coarse grain, because earlier they were used to be given as fodder, or you can say food for the animal, reared animal, cattle. So that's why it is also known as coarse grain, and can be grown on less fertile and sandy soil. So we don't need a lot of fertile soil. So it can be grown in Rajasthan, and it is grown in Rajasthan mostly in India. Okay, so it can be grown on less fertile soil and sandy soil. It is a hardy crop that needs low rainfall, high to moderate temperature, and adequate. It's not adequate rainfall means as much as it requires, like very low rainfall. Okay, then we have jowar, bajra, and ragi, which are grown in India, and other countries are Nigeria, China, and Niger. In India, it is in Rajasthan. Next is maize. Maize requires like that corn. You see, in Hindi it is known as bhutta. So maize is grown in very like moderate temperature, moderate rainfall, and lot of sunshine. So you can say this is also grown in winter time. It needs well drained fertile soil, and maize is grown in North America, Brazil, China, Russia, Canada, India, and Mexico. Okay, maize in India, if you need to know, it's in Karnataka. It is grown well. Okay, then we have cotton, very very important, because cotton is grown in India from a very old times. Okay, so yes, it is very very important, and cotton is a fabric crop. So cotton requires high temperature, light rainfall, 210 frost free days. There should be no snowfall on those days, and bright sunshine for its growth. It grows well in on the black soil, or the alluvial soil. So black soil is very fertile and suitable for cotton's growth. Okay, next we have China, USA, India, Pakistan, Brazil, and Egypt. These are the leading producers of cotton. Then it is one of the main raw material for the cotton textile industry. Of course, cotton fiber is very much required for making shirts, cotton shirts, and all this. So cotton textile industry is growing just because of this raw material cotton, and it is grown in Gujarat, Maharashtra. In India, if we talk about the places, so Gujarat, Maharashtra, there you see a lot of cotton textile industries. Then we have jute, which is also known as golden fiber, because its color is like a little bit of like that. You can see in the picture also. So yes, and it grows well on alluvial soil and requires high temperature, heavy rainfall, humid climate. So you see a lot of a lot of jute was being grown in earlier in Bangladesh, because Bangladesh was also a part of India. So that time we were only the leading producers of jute. Now it is Bangladesh, and if in India if you talk, it is West Bengal where a lot of jute is being grown. So it is grown in tropical areas. India and Bangladesh are the leading producers of jute. Next we have coffee. Coffee requires warm and wet climate, and it will be grown in hilly region. Okay, well drained loamy soil is required. Hill slopes are more suitable for growth of this crop. Brazil is the leading producer, and after that Colombia, then India. And if we talk in India, about India, where it is grown, so it is grown mostly in Karnataka. Then we have tea. Tea is a beverage crop, and it is grown in plantation again. Beverage means something which we serve. So serve to the guest, and this is sweet. So tea and this hot drink, you can say. So tea and coffee both are like that beverage crop. Okay, this requires cool climate and well distributed high rainfall. Then it needs well drained soil and gentle slope. Okay, and then it is grown in Kenya, India, China, Sri Lanka, Assam. In India, if we talk about in India where it is grown, so Assam, Darjeeling in West Bengal, these places are like famous for tea production in India. Okay, then we'll be talking about agricultural development, because major crops we have covered and many of them you will be learning in 10th class. Okay, so now we'll be talking about agricultural development. What is the meaning of agricultural development? So when the production is increased, है ना, by using certain new methods, new technology, modern machines, and then different techniques, different new types of seeds, high yielding variety of seeds, and then fertilizers, weedicides, these things, then it is going to be known as agricultural development. So agricultural development refers to efforts made to increase farm production in order to meet the growing demand of increasing population, as because we have limited land, okay, fixed land, we are not able to like convert the sea into land. So it means we have limited land, fixed land, and we have to increase the production on that land, because the population is ever growing and it's growing and growing. Now it's about to reach like in India it has already crossed 1 billion. So you can see that, and India is the leading one in terms of population. So yeah, we need a lot of production. So for that reason we need agricultural development to meet their requirements, the increasing population's requirement. This can be achieved in many ways, such as increasing the cropped area, the number of crops grown, improving irrigation facilities. We are actually building dams, canals, and sprinklers. We are using different methods of agricultural irrigation, and efficient one also. Use of fertilizers, high yielding variety of seeds, which are famously known as HYV seeds. Mechanization, like we should use more of machines instead of using human labor. So that is also required. Okay, the ultimate aim of agricultural development is to increase food security. Everyone should have the access, affordability, and availability of food, that is food security. It should be provided to everyone. That's why we are doing agricultural development. Agriculture has developed at different places in different parts of the world. If we talk about developing countries, we see in India also there is agricultural development seen in 1960, when there was green revolution, and from scarcity of food we reached to surplus of food just because of this uh, agricultural development. We used high yielding variety of seeds, we use fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, although these are like degrading the quality of land, but yes, that is required. But we should think of new way which is not harming the nature, the soil, and we are able to increase the productivity. So yes, so this was done in India, and in the other countries also you see, like larger holdings are more suitable for commercial farming. If you see USA, Canada, Australia, they do a lot of commercial farming. But if you see India, or such countries like India in the Southeast Asia part, you will see mostly intensive subsistence farming, mostly, but we do commercial farming as well. Okay, now there are two examples given in your book, India and USA. There is a comparison, so you can see this comparison, how the land holdings are different, how they are using different methods. Let's compare. So land holdings in India are small due to inheritance of law, like we cannot have a lot of land. Okay, so that the second thing, most of the farm activities have been done with the help of all the members of the family and primitive methods. As I said, we have we were having a lot of members in family, so they all were involved, and two-third population of India is still engaged in agriculture, so all the family members are engaged there. The farming activity takes credit from bank, they take loan from bank or the agricultural cooperative society. The production of crop is the food production of food is top priority, because we want them for survival, for livelihood. So food we will grow, instead of more food we will be growing instead of cash crop. Most of the products used for personal consumption rather than for trade purpose. Then intensive farming is mostly done in India. Then we have developed countries like USA. So we'll be talking about how USA is doing agriculture. The average size of the farm in USA is much larger than that of an Indian farm. Okay, the size will be like I cannot tell how many multiples. So in India it is nearby 2 hectare of land, 2.5 hectare of land, which is being inherited by the farmers. But if we talk about US farmers, they are having 250 to 300 hectares of land. So on that big size of land, what they will do, they will do commercial farming, obviously. So a typical farm size in USA is 300, about 300 hectares. And for farming mostly they use tractor, seed drills, leveler, then they have this leveler, then they have combined harvester, thresher, like a lot of machines, mechanization, you can see a lot of mechanization there. And then the farmer in USA works like a businessman, not like a peasant farmer who is having a very low level of development in their lifestyle. Also they are living luxurious life. Okay, most common type of farming there is commercial farming. So here you can see there are two examples given in our book, so you can go through that, also read the example. The crux is given in this part, so yes, you can just go through for revision purpose, but you should read in detail. I think a lot of detail is given in this uh, PDF, so yes, you should consider this also as important. With this we finish the chapter. I hope you understood things, you got many new things to know, and you have the good understanding on the major concepts. Thank you so much. Learn well. Also, if you find this useful, you can share it with your friends. Thank you so much.